Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Action Comics Superman. This is basically an updated re-release of the Action Comics 1000 Superman, and this one has a different paint job, the logo is different on his chest, and he has a cloth soft goods cape with a wire in it. The Action Comics 1000 Superman is arguably the best Superman that McFarlane has made, which is funny because it's the first one they made as well, and it's very sought after and valuable at this point, so it's very intelligent for them to make a re-release of that and make some differences at the same time. This is a gold label Walmart exclusive. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Captain Nemo from Instagram for finding this and sending it my way. It is much appreciated. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts. McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus. This is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive. Whether it be Target or GameStop, this particular Gold Label is a Walmart exclusive. DC Multiverse Superman. Here he is in the package. Looks like he has a total of 4 hands, a flight stand, and a collector's card. One side of the package, Superman from Action Comics. Other side, Superman. At the bottom, there's his barcode, if that helps anybody. And on the back side, here he is posed up, Clark turning into Superman. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. Flight stand, collector's card, and a total of 4 hands. No traditional accessories. Before we load all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is the new Action Comics Superman. It's basically a traditional and sort of modern Superman in his normal iconic outfit. Blue suit, red trunks, yellow belt, Superman symbol in the chest, red cape, whole 9 yards. So let's take a look. Start with his face here. It looks good. Cheeks a little bit darker. He's got the signature curl on his forehead. Hair looks good. It's mostly black. A little bit of blue in there. Face looks good. He's looking up a little bit, but that'll be great for flight poses. Let's go further down. This is on the Action Comics 1000 body, and it looks like they smoothed out the chest and painted the Superman logo on. The fact they smoothed out the chest makes me think they're going to use this for future releases, and I'm okay with that. It's the same single jointed elbows, which people complained about quite a bit at the beginning. I recognize that Action Comics torso. We have the red trunks, yellow belt, and the belt loops are painted. Double jointed knees. Typical Superman boots. Those giant ball joints in his ankles. And really in his wrists too, but they're hidden pretty nicely on this guy. On the back, we have the cloth soft goods cape. It's got a wire on the side for posing, and the Superman logo on the back. Mine has 2 little sort of defects there. I see a little bit of yellow and the red sticking out, and then there's a sort of black thing on top of it as well. That's pretty annoying. Also, really not feeling how his neck looks. That looks pretty ugly, if you ask me. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. He has sort of a serious, stern expression, not a smiling Superman like you see a lot of the time in the comics and the movies. Although pretty much every time McFarlane tries to do a smiling figure, it looks goofy. It's a good head sculpt. Back to the basics from the first wave of McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Another thing I wanted to point out was his neck. So, the cape is not evenly distributed. You can see how it's kind of the way it's supposed to on this side, but it's way further back here. But if you just look at the neck here, it's like indented where the head and the neck, or rather the neck and the shirt sort of meet. It just doesn't look that good. It's like they sort of, I don't know, tried to put a neck in there that wasn't meant to be there, and it has sort of a gap. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it looks a little bit off. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as you can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Clark Kent turning into Superman. Superman from Action Comics. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Now let's look at his flight stand. Typical McFarlane flight stand we've seen since day one. On the bottom, it has a circle with DC on it and a peg for the pegals on their feet. You can use it as a regular stand or as a flight stand. It's got this post that goes to the top, and then it has this clamp, which is hinged and has rotation and can help hold your figure. Here's an example of that flight stand holding that Superman figure in the air. And here's a look at Superman utilizing the flight stand in a different fashion. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands, 2 flight hands, and then a fist and gripping hand pair. Every single Superman figure released should come with a pair of flight hands and a pair of fists. This guy's not far off. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his flight hands. I want to talk about his wrist for a second. Now, you can see his suit is blue. The sleeves go to here. This is the end of the sleeve. And then we have the flesh-colored hand. And the peg, which is really part of his hand, an extension, it's the wrist, which is past the sleeve, is also done in blue. That should be flesh color, because it's part of the hand. It's past the sleeve. That's a complaint I saw a lot with the earlier McFarlane figures, and they actually corrected that with some of the later releases, but it looks like they backslid on this guy. Now I wanted to talk about his cape for a second. His cape is made of cloth soft goods and has a wire, and that's something McFarlane's been doing a lot of lately. So, like I said, the bendy wire, you can easily get poses, cape kind of going to one side or to the other. Can be really cool when he's hovering or floating. Now, one thing I do not like, his cape stretch out about this far. I do not like the neck. It's way too big. It's hideous the way it sits on top of the cape there. Makes me think of a Cardassian from Star Trek. Looks okay from the front, but it's kind of disconnected. It has a weird sort of shape here. It just doesn't look like a natural shape of his outfit. You can see on mine, the cape is connected much further in front on his right, and on his left, much further back. Maybe I can fix that myself, I don't know. But I don't think that can be fixed. It just does not look good from the back. Now I'm going to check out the differences and similarities between this new Action Comics Superman and the original Action Comics 1000 Superman. Of course, the main difference is going to be the cape, cloth soft goods versus plastic or rubber. So, starting with their heads, I believe it's the same sculpt. They have the similar curl, the eyebrows pointed at the top, serious expression, but the paint job is significantly different and makes them look kind of different. The torso is not the same. The original one had a Superman logo sculpted on top. This one, it's like they took the same torso, smoothed it out, and then painted the Superman logo there, which is kind of interesting. It's done a metallic paint job. I do believe it's the same torso. We have the similar muscles right here on both the guys. The stomach is definitely exactly the same. The trunks, very similar, except there's a little bit of a brighter red on the new one. You can see the blues are a different shade. They don't match. They're not going to be swappable. Boots, knees, pretty similar. Of course, the capes are completely different. One thing I noticed on these guys, and I kind of saw it on the new one, he has this interesting textured part on the side of the suit, and I was like, oh, I don't remember that from before. I guess that's a different body. But no, he has this kind of little bit of textured piece down here. Never noticed that before because the arm kind of covers it up. Solid releases. I think I like this guy's blue better. I think I like his sculpted Superman symbol better. His cape, I'm not sure, I got mixed feelings on. The neck, I'd say, looks better on the original one, just kind of big on the new one. Here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that utilize the Action Comics number 1000 body. We currently have 5 of them. This goes from the Devastator 2-pack, Action 1000, New Action, Atomic Skull 2-pack, and the Red Sun Superman. Now they've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories. Let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right at 7 inches tall, which can translate to about 18 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, it can rotate side to side. He can look up and down about that much. I wish he could look up a little bit further for a flight pose. Tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He's got this butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion, but more importantly, covering the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut, single jointed elbow. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged. Ball joint is torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back between the two. Pretty good range of motion. You get a little bit more of the torso than the waist on this guy. Legs complete as the splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation's non-existent. Legs go forward, about that far, back not much. Double jointed knees. And then his ankle with those hideous ball joints. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt rock. And of course, toe articulation. Here's a look at Superman, hovering in the skies above Metropolis. Here he is in a flight pose, going right toward you. And then, from a side view, flying through the skies. Now let's check him out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Superman figures. Since we already checked him out next to the Action Comics 1000 Superman, which is typically what I consider my favorite McFarlane Superman figure, here he is next to the runner-up. This is the Hush Superman. And here he is next to the Page Puncher Superman. Then, next to the DC Cinematic Universe, Henry Cavill Superman. And now, next to the Injustice 2 Superman. Next, with the giant armored Page Puncher Superman. And finally, next to the Crisis on Infinite Earth Superman. Here's a look at all of the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Superman figures. Looks like I have one more to add to the mix. Here's a Superman. Next to the Superman team or Superman family supporting characters, we have Krypto the Superdog, Steel, Supergirl, of course Superman, the Val Zod Superman, Connor Kent Superboy, and the John Kent Superboy. Then, next to all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Superman rogues, they've covered more than all the basics at this point. We've got Atomic Skull, Doomsday, General Zod, Darkseid, Lex Luthor, Brainiac, Metallo, Calibac, Cyborg Superman, Ultraman, Eradicator, Bizarro, Superboy Prime, and Mongol. I would say the main Superman rogues we're missing at this point are probably Parasite and Toyman. Now let's check them out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. This Superman is a gold label Walmart exclusive, and he's been showing up with the single release of the Hal Jordan, which is also a Walmart exclusive, and mine's on the way, should happen tomorrow. Thanks again, Captain Nemo. Here he is next to the previous set of Walmart exclusive figures, Vampire Shazam and Max Mercury. Here's Superman next to the Walmart exclusive wave before that, Vampire Damian Wayne Robin and Owlman. And here he is next to my most recent arrivals. This is the third digital wave, Silver Age Joker and Earth 2 Robin. And here he is next to the Amazon exclusive glow-in-the-dark Arkham Asylum Killer Croc. Then, next to the Target exclusive Gold Label Commander Steel and Sinestro and Parallax armor. And now, with the most recent Jokerized wave, Hush, Harley Quinn, and Batman. Here's Superman, next most recent wave of Page Punchers, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Rebirth Deathstroke and the Damian Wayne Robin. And here he is, next to the most recent Platinum wave, The Question, Shining Knight, and Effigy. Then, with the Rebirth Cyborg and the Dawn of the DC Red Hood. And now, with the Michael Go Alfred that came with the Batman Forever Batmobile, the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Jonah Hex, and the GameStop exclusive Frostbite Deathstroke. And finally, with the 7th wave of Collector's Edition figures, both the regular and Planet of Chase variants of the Dark Knight Returns Batman, Huntress, and some Green Lantern Corps members, Abin Sur, Tomo Ray, Arcus Chumuk, and the Green Man. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller, and I'm going to include as many Superman figures as I can during these comparisons. Since we already checked him out next to a bunch of other McFarlane DC Multiverse Superman figures, here he is next to some more McFarlane toys. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane toys, all 7-inch scale, and now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys, here's a Superman next to an egg, and here he is next to some DC Direct and NECA Superman figures, then with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures, and now with some Mezco and Mattel Superman figures, next with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends, and finally with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a very nice Superman figure, but the real question is, does it debunk Action Comics 1000 as my favorite Superman? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. I think I still prefer that one. Now, I do prefer this guy's cape. Cloth soft goods cape with an S on the back, wire in it, nice posing, but mine has a couple small flaws on the S, and I just really don't like the way the top of his back looks with the cape connecting. They should have the cape a little bit higher up. It just doesn't look right. And his neck on the front looks a little bit weird too. I prefer the sculpted Superman logo of the original version versus the smooth one here. They smoothed it out, which is unusual for them to do, but that tells me they probably have some plans to use this torso in the future. I think it would have been nice if they included a different set of arms that had double jointed elbows. Would have been nice if they made the wrist pegs flesh colored. They definitely knew that was an issue and they corrected it at one point, but backsliding. I do think the blue is better on this one, so is the red than the original release. But the main draw of this figure is a cloth soft goods cape, which is nicer than the original plastic or rubber cape if you ask me. But all their flaws, mainly around his neck, kind of turned me off of this guy. And Action Comics 1000, still my favorite McFarlane Superman, and it's their first release, and it's still the best one 5 years later. Can you believe that? This is a great and intelligent re-release for those that don't have the Action Comics 1000 Superman. That is very expensive to get nowadays, and I'm sure this release will devalue that a little bit. If I were to rate this Superman, his articulation, it's good. Could be a little better in the elbows. Accessories, it's really just the hands. No traditional accessories. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. I think he's well worth an 8 out of 10, but I still prefer the original one to this one. Not by a lot, but I do. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you real soon.